Good morning. Some of you might have come on here expecting Pastor Norma Malfatti, but it's me again, Assistant to the Bishop for Faith Formation, Pastor Lori Kochanski, and I'm greeting you from my home once again. Pastor Malfatti will spend some time in our virtual office hours, which you can find out about on our website this afternoon at 1 o'clock. She'll be there, and some really important good stuff to gather around how to deal with things today. But for now, you're with me here at our 9 at 9, a time for us to just pause and be present. So this morning, I'm sitting in front of my bookcase. When we moved to Albany, I did I guess you would say, a Marie Kondoing of all my books. I put them all over the floor of my home library, and I got rid of a lot of books. Things that didn't spark joy anymore, things that I hung on to, that I never picked up and read. So the bookcase behind me is a pretty curated version of what I hung on to, and then things I've added since then. I love reading. I've always loved reading. I used to get big stacks of books in the summertime when I would go to the library, and I sometimes didn't return them on time. My dad always said that we probably built a wing of that library with the fines that accrued, because my eyes were bigger than my brain and stomach and ability to take in all the words. So I would just get stacks and stacks of them and then want to finish each and every one of them. I always have a book going still to this day. But what I've noticed in these past 2 weeks is that I've lost my ability to dive into a novel and just want to be there. It seems like after 3 chapters, I'm feeling a need to put it down. It's taking me a lot longer, and I was getting frustrated. But I walk by this bookcase all the time. I'm sitting on the floor because, I've been in chairs a lot. I walk by this bookcase a lot of times a day and decided that maybe it's time to just sit down in front of it. That's what I did this morning after I made my tea and got ready. I sat down and I pulled out books that have short chapters, are poems, are inspiration, are words gathered together. And words matter. Words gathered together to bring comfort and joy, sometimes discomfort in this time of discomfort. I really spent some time on that shelf area behind me that deals with grief, deals with pain, deals with listening and sitting in that pain and that grief and sorrow and just being there. I just wanted to share some of what I found here on my shelf. I found some Psalms for praying. The Psalms have been a comfort to me these weeks. When I can't read the novels I want to read, it seems like I can grasp on to words from the Psalms. And poetry. Some of my favorite poets. I'd love if you put on there, if you have any favorite poets. Right now, Joy Harjo I have in my hand. Lucille Clifton is one of my favorites as well. Blessing of the Boats, reminding us of the blessings of coming and going in this life. And one of the other things I often challenge myself to do is to memorize some of those poems, so that in those moments when you're in a meeting, and yes, we still have meetings, when you're sitting there, that perhaps your brain can be occupied in some other way. You can mentally step out, step away, create a space for words that are short, that are easily captured. Today, though, we've been doing this book group. Another thing you might want to do is explore writers you haven't read. I had never heard of Katie Zay. I don't even know if I'm saying her name right, but I'm going to give her a shout out. Women Rise Up. It's a book we're reading for our book group. So maybe reach out and to look at your library online offerings and see what you can grasp. Next month, we're looking at Joan Chittister. The Time Is Now, A Call to Uncommon Courage. Even the title gives us some comfort and praise. One of my favorite compilations of poetry is Cries of the Spirit. I know this is all backward. I'm going to put this on our Synod website, a big list of things to read and to do. Mary Oliver is one of my favorites. I think I just saw that someone might have put that up there. If not, they should. These compilations of poets and places. I learned about Tess Gallagher when I was in college, and she gave me a lot of comfort. Because words do matter. So it's in the words that I'm finding, these short words, the poems, that I'm finding some comfort right now. I'm also finding comfort in artists. Before all of this, I went twice, I think maybe 3 times, to a wonderful art exhibit at the Albany Art Museum, and bought a book, and I'm so glad I do. I never buy the book, but I bought it, and I've been looking at this art. Or I also have a book I gave to my husband, which I've taken away from him and been spending, of Watanabe and all his art. It connects me beyond this place. So I guess my message today is, when we're in the midst of this, is to find what gives you comfort. So maybe you can't read a novel right now, but pick something up and to notice the words that give you comfort. As I mentioned, the Psalms right now give me comfort. That ancient way of connecting. And part of it, I guess all of it, helps me to figure out what my prayer is, how to name God, what my prayer is right now when I'm reading and prompted, and poetry does that for me. So I hope you will take some time, take off the shelves the books that you have kept and carried from home to home, from place to place. Spend some time with them. Give yourself permission to stop and to be, and to let the words speak to your soul right now. Figure out what gives you comfort. In closing, I want to mention that today some of you out there will be celebrating the Feast of Annunciation wherever you are. A reminder of Mary, of mothering, of the mothering part of God who has come into the being in this world. And so before we go, as a sort of blessing and reminder, I'm going to use another one of my favorite books, Fragments of an Ancient Name by Joyce Rupp. She has a different possible name to call on God with for every day of the year. And I'm going to choose December 24th. Yes, I'm going back in time, even in this Lenten season, where she talks of the child of Bethlehem. Child of Bethlehem. She says, so easy to place you on a spotless pedestal, forgetting how you came to dwell with us, came as all children come into the world, a small babe with a bloody umbilical cord, a wee infant nuzzling your mother's breast, crying out in need and filling your diapers. How tremendous the truth of your incarnation, humbling yourself to vulnerable dependency. O child of Bethlehem, for every child alive today, every child, protect them in their poverty of defenselessness. It's a prayer, it's a hope, it's a holding. Some words, more words. I guess that's what this morning's about, words. How they comfort, how we hold them, where they take us. May the words of your lips this day give glory to God. May you be able to hear the words of others as comfort, challenge, joy, and may you sit in it all. Be able to sit in it all and hold it all. We're all holding it all. But to know that when I talk of the children of the world, I'm not just talking of the wee ones, but you too. So may God bless you this day. Give you comfort, courage, and strength.